Hello everyone. In this video, we will start exploring the new learning module called Logistic Regression. And so I want to give you a little bit of background about the learning of the logistic regression because if you are taking this class back to 5-10 years ago, we are actually not covered this part because the math behind it is really more advanced. And so usually students will learn this model as they get into the master degree. However, as the evolving of the industry, business world, so this model become more and more prominent use in the real world. So therefore, we decide to add in this part of the learning to this class. Again, we are not go very in depth in the math part. However, we want to make sure students understand that the regression model we learned so far was not able to use a certain scenario. And if you are facing the other part, that is what we're going to cover in this chapter, you need to know that, hey, this is the model I need to dive into further. Okay, so that we are able to build in this, lay off this ground and allow you to further your education either in the work setting. So you learn more about, hey, what is logistic regression? And you feel you empowered that you know what is it. You need to dive in a little bit further about coding part, right? And also, if for some reason you go to graduate school, you also feel prepared because you already had this foundation. So therefore, we are not covering the whole chapters, and we mainly calling out the introduction part so that you will know what is logistic regression and what this model are meant to analyze, right? Like I said, the previous regression model we learned, we found certain predicting outcome we cannot achieve. So therefore, we need to learn this model that is able to cover. Okay, so therefore, let's look at what we're going to learn from this module. We're going to achieve the following two learning objectives. First, you are able to estimate and interpret the linear and the logistic regression models. And the second is you are able to calculate and interpret odds and accuracy. So basically what I'm saying here is that you are going to see two models. First is called the probability linear regression model. So this one will look very similar as what we already learned from the previous learning modules. And then the second is logistic regression. That will be a little bit different. So for the linear regression model, linear probability regression model, you will be able to use the method we already covered to getting the regression output. So for the logistic regression model, we are not diving into, hey, the fact is it's really hard to use Excel to get the logistic regression output. So instead of sometimes people using R or Python, so that is not covered by this class. But at least we know if we got a result from those programs, we know how to interpret it. Again, logistic regression model will be you are able to learn once you get into the master degree, or like I said, in the work setting, you can work with other scientists. So they might just spit out the result to you, and you as an analyst, your main job is interpret the result. So therefore, this week's learning, we're focusing on, hey, do we able to read the result from logistic regression, understand how to interpret it? And the second is, what is the differences between the linear probability regression model versus logistic regression model? Okay, and then at the end, given the result and how you are able to calculate the odds and figure out the accuracy. Okay, so that is the two learning objectives we try to achieve. And so it's not as many as we did in the previous learning weeks. Again, the main reason is that this week we learned something difficult. So hopefully you spend quality time to watch the lecture video and the computer skill lecture so that you know how to interpreting the result and how to converting the result to the odds you needed to deliver the business information.